In a time long ago, four young adventurers, Sarah, Liam, Ahmed, and Emma, embarked on a daring quest to find the legendary lost treasure of the Golden Oasis. The treasure was said to be hidden in the most desolate, uncharted parts of the desert, a place where few had ever dared to go. The map they carried had been passed down through generations, containing cryptic symbols and ancient clues that promised riches beyond imagination. Huh. The group, filled with excitement and anticipation, set out from the bustling city, determined to uncover the treasure and make history. Sarah, the group's leader, was a skilled cartographer. She had spent years studying ancient maps and had an uncanny ability to read the smallest details. Liam, the ever optimistic one, had a passion for solving puzzles and understanding ancient mysteries. Ahmed, the most practical among them, was an engineer with a sharp mind for building and repairing anything they might need along the way. Emma, the youngest, had a natural sense of direction and an interest in history that kept the group grounded and focused. They journeyed for days through the vast, unforgiving desert. The relentless sun beat down on them as they trudged through endless sand dunes, each step heavier than the last. The heat was suffocating, but they pressed on, driven by the dream of discovering the treasure. Nights were spent camping under the stars, with Sarah carefully checking the map and Liam telling stories of ancient explorers who had ventured into the desert before them. The days stretched into a week, and with each passing moment, the excitement grew. The map showed they were getting closer to their destination, a place marked with the symbol of the Golden Oasis. A fabled location said to be both a paradise and a final resting place for those who sought its riches. They reached a narrow canyon, and Sarah consulted the map once more, confirming they were on the right path. We're so close, she said with a smile, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. But then, without warning, the sky darkened, the wind began to howl, and sand swirled in every direction, a force of nature that was both terrifying and unstoppable. A sandstorm had descended upon them, fierce and blinding. The winds were so strong they could barely stand, and the sand stung their skin, driving them to seek shelter behind a large rock formation. As the storm raged on, the map was torn from Sarah's hands by the wind, and the fragile compass they carried was lost in the chaos. The storm lasted for hours, leaving the group exhausted and disoriented. When the winds finally calmed, the world around them was eerily silent. The desert had transformed. The landmarks they had relied on were gone, and the familiar path they had been following was now completely unrecognizable. The map was lost, and with it the certainty of their mission. "What now?" Liam asked, his voice barely a whisper. "We've come so far. We can't just give up." Sarah, who had always been the optimistic one, looked around helplessly. "We've lost everything," she said softly. "The map, the compass. It's like we're starting all over." Emma, her face pale with exhaustion, sat down in the sand. "We don't even know which direction to go anymore. We were supposed to find the treasure, but now all I want is to get out of here." Ahmed, the most practical of them all, nodded gravely. "We've got to focus on surviving. The treasure doesn't matter now. We need water, shelter, and food." The dream of finding the treasure, which had driven them all this time, now seemed impossibly distant. They were no longer adventurers searching for riches. They were stranded in the desert, fighting for their survival. But despite their despair, they didn't give up. They had to keep moving, even if they had no idea where they were going. For days, they wandered aimlessly, relying on Emma's sense of direction to guide them. Their water supply dwindled, and exhaustion began to take its toll. There were moments of doubt, moments when they thought they might never make it out. But each time one of them faltered, the others pushed forward, supporting one another through the harsh desert. It was a test of their strength, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Um, One day, after what felt like an eternity of walking, Emma suddenly stopped and pointed to the horizon. I think I know where we are, she said, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I recognize that ridge. It's on some of the old maps I've studied. If we head that way, we might find something. The others looked at her, hope flickering in their eyes. It was the first sign of direction they had in days. They didn't hesitate. Together, they began the long trek toward the distant ridge, their hearts pounding with the thought that they might finally be on the right path. The sun was setting when they reached the ridge, but instead of the emptiness they had come to expect, they saw something incredible. A small caravan of nomads. Their tents were pitched against the backdrop of the desert, and their camels were grazing nearby. The nomads had lived in the desert for generations and knew its secrets better than anyone. They had survived the harshest conditions and were always on the move, following ancient routes that no outsider had ever known. The group approached the nomads cautiously, and the leader, an older man with weathered skin, greeted them with a curious smile. After hearing their story, he nodded knowingly. The treasure of the golden oasis. Many have searched for it, but few have ever returned. Some believe it's a myth, others believe it's lost forever. The group listened to the nomads' words with a mix of disappointment and wonder. The treasure might never be found, but their survival was a victory in itself. The nomads offered them food, water, and shelter for the night, and the group gratefully accepted. Mmm, squeeze. As they sat around the fire, Sarah, Liam, Ahmed, and Emma realized that while the treasure of gold and jewels may have been lost, they had found something much more valuable: friendship, resilience, and the strength to face whatever the world threw at them. The next morning, the nomads guided them to a safer route out of the desert, and after days of travel, the group finally emerged from the harsh sands. They had come in search of riches, but what they had discovered was something far more profound. They had learned that no matter how far the road ahead seemed, they could always count on each other. As they walked back toward civilization, Liam turned to the others with a grin. Um, Next time, we're coming back. We'll be better prepared, and maybe we'll find the treasure after all. We will, Sarah said confidently. But this time, we'll know that the real treasure is the journey itself. Amit laughed, and the people we meet along the way. Emma nodded. Next time, we won't just be searching for gold, we'll be searching for adventure. And so, with new resolve and a bond stronger than ever, the group of adventurers made their way home. The desert may have defeated them this time, but they knew their journey was far from over. The lost treasure of the Golden Oasis might still be out there, waiting for the next group of brave souls to seek it. But for Sarah, Liam, Ahmed, and Emma, the real treasure was the friendship they had forged in the heart of the desert and the knowledge that they would one day return, not for gold, but for the thrill of adventure.